nation's finest shows.
You can go out there and make it tough on them, or you can go out there and make it easy on them. Now, if you go out there and make it easy on them, they'll get better and better, and you'll get embarrassed.
Bobby Bowden has also been directing blockbuster programs for 25 seasons. And his always exciting Florida State Seminoles keep turning out surefire successes every year. It's Paterno and Bowden on the same silver field, and it promises to be a blockbuster smash. Sports and Entertainment, in association with Blockbuster Video, presents the Blockbuster Bowl. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. Also in part by Alamo Rent-A-Car, by Budweiser, You are looking at sold-out Joe Robbie Stadium on a balmy South Florida night. A record-setting crowd expected here for this game between Penn State and the Florida State Seminoles. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Brown. The Nittany Lions have the nation's longest winning streak. You look at the coaches, only the late Bear Bryant won more bowl games than Joe Paterno. The Bear had 15. But with a 9-3-1 postseason record, Bobby Bowden is second to none in winning percentage. That's impressive. Nearly 75,000 fans expected here at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Tim, you wait till you hear the thunder when they enter this football field. They're getting ready now.
Chief Osceola has lit the spear and is ready to ride in on Renegade. And here come the Seminoles of FSU. Also with a record of 9-2, coming off a huge win in state rival Florida. Florida State has won 5 in a row.
Penn State wins the toss. Will defer. Right. Turn right. Which end of the field do you want to be? Turn right around. Beginning the first half, Florida State will receive on this end. Penn State will kick and Penn this goal.
We had a little bit of rain a couple hours ago here at Joe Robbie Stadium, but right now it is pleasant, 70 degrees, 30% chance of showers a little bit later on. That's a lot better than what's taking place up in Pennsylvania and across most of the nation. Just about ready for kickoff, and Dave Rowe, what are the Lincoln Mercury team busts for Penn State?
Well, first of all, for Penn State, they have got to control the blitz, especially Anthony Moss on the outside. They've got to wrap up the receivers quickly. When they catch the ball, they can't allow them to break, and they really need outstanding special teams tonight. Joe Paterno thinks that the kicking game could really be the part of the game that wins it for them.
All right, how about the Lincoln Mercury bust for Florida State?
Well, for Florida State, it's a little bit different. They have to get started quickly. They are a team that scored 250 points in the first half of their ball games this year. They need to use that big play offense. You saw Lawrence Dawsey on that 76-yard pass, the second one in the game, and win the battle of the trenches. That's where the battle's going to be won, up front. Those front seven of Florida State taking on those front linemen of Penn State.
Bobby Bowden gone to 9 straight bowls, and they've been unbeaten in all of them. Quite a record. We'll get an idea of what happens on special teams right away. Craig Fayak of Penn State prepares to kick off, and he'll be kicking deep to Shannon Baker and Eric Terrell. Both are dangerous return men for Florida State. Baker averages 21 yards a return. Terrell is just under that. Scalpers reportedly have been asking as much as $250 for tickets for this one. Prices went up. Tickets were sold after Penn State beat Notre Dame and FSU beat Florida. These two clubs finished the season as strongly as anybody in the nation. And we're underway in South Florida. It'll be Baker at the 5. Baker needs help, doesn't get it, and carries it out to the 17-yard line. And that's where the Seminoles will start after a return of 13 yards. Starting quarterback is Casey Weldon, 5-0 as a starter, third in the nation in passing efficiency. Behind Tyne Detmer and Sean Moore of Virginia. He's a gambler with a strong arm and great escapability. First down, the ball officially at the 17. Quick run straight ahead. Lee gets a couple, not much there. Stopped by D'Onofrio and Jim Dieter. Here are the offensive starters for Florida State, brought to you by Blockbuster Video. Amp Lee, the ball carrier there. Edgar Bennett, who has 35 receptions, second best on the team. So you'll see him come out of the backfield a lot. Phillips, Pryor, and Dawsey, the wideouts. Pryor starts for Baker, who's had back spasms. Up front, Stevenson, Haynes, Baker, Morris, and Mancini. Mancini's played most of his season with a bad ankle. Second down, call it 6. Play action. Weldon to throw. Has a man wide open. It's Johnson out to midfield. A gain of 30 for Florida State.
Then when you think of a tight end coming downfield, you don't think of them getting 15 to 18 yards downfield. Johnson just runs in the seam. Nobody even near him. You can see Penn State had to quickly recover, but great pickup there by Weldon to see Johnson wide open.
Finally stopped by Willie Thomas. They marked the ball just inside the midfield stripe in Seminole territory. First down. Again, it's Lee. Quick feet into Penn State territory at the 45. Stopped by Derek Bona. Defensively, Giannetti, Dieter, and Benfatti up front for Penn State. McKenzie, D'Onofrio, Goganis, and Givens, the linebackers. They're active. The two inside guys have really grown this season. Bona gets the start tonight in front of Fusetti. Humphreys, Thomas, and Perry. Perry with 7 interceptions leads that part of the defense. Humphreys has 6. It'll be second down and 4. Florida State. Amp Lee, right side. Gets a yard. D'Onofrio on the tackle on the sideline. This is a hunt and confront type defensive unit for Penn State.
Yeah, they really do. They slide along and line real well. They make big plays. They need to make a big play right here. It's third down, about 3 yards to go. This is where Weldon gets outside a lot of times. He scrambles up inside. He's very elusive when he goes to the pass play on third down and short yardage.
It'll be third down and 3 as Amp Lee goes to the slot. Weldon rolls right, throws back, dangerous pass. Almost picked off by Willie Thomas. But there is a flag.
That may be a Penn State player coming over the back on that reception.
It is, and it's against the Nittany Lions.
Boy, they had Weldon trapped into the sideline, and he came up with the play. Looked like a director out there kind of pushing his hand, pointing. Watch Weldon. We talked about his elusiveness in the pocket. A little bit of pressure up the middle. He fades out to his left. Right there. See him direct him, and then over top of the back. Well, it didn't look like a bad interference, but the referee saw it as an interference, and it gives him a first down.
I'll tell you this, Willie Thomas is aggressive. He is the captain of that defensive unit.
And if you're Bobby Bowden, this is exactly what you want to do. Come in, take the emotion out, have a nice long drive, get in scoring position.
First down at the 32. Three-step drop. Weldon throws outside. And Lee is hit immediately by Darren Perry. Bobby Bowden told us against this Penn State defense, his club needs as many at-bats as possible and to melt the clock. Offensively, Florida State has averaged almost 450 yards and 39 points per game. This offense is explosive. Pryor and Dawsey go to the top of the screen. That's Dawsey in motion. And Weldon's in trouble. Gets to the corner and makes a sizable gain out of trouble. We told you he has great escapability. Finally taken down by Leonard Humphreys.
Boy, when you allow a quarterback to run out of the pocket like that, it puts so much pressure on the defense. The corners don't know whether to leave their coverage and come up or try to stop. You just cannot lose containment on a scrambling quarterback.
Final game of the regular season. Casey Weldon passed for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns and beat Florida 45-30. Only 2 losses came mid-season to Miami and the following week against Auburn, and it was in the Auburn game that Casey Weldon took over for Brad Johnson. Third down 2, and the ball is dropped in the flat. And you won't see that very often from Lawrence Dawsey.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You don't see that often from Lawrence Dawsey to miss one right in his hands. The respect the Penn State defensive player has on him. He's back. You don't even see him in the picture. Look at that. You don't see that ever by Lawrence Dawsey.
So Richie Andrews comes on to attempt a 41-yard field goal. He's 13 of 18 this year. His longest 47, and this one splits the sticks. So with 10:47 remaining first period, Florida State's on the board first. It's the Seminoles 3, Penn State nothing. It's 3-0 Florida State on a rather methodical drive, and a 41-yard field goal has put the Seminoles on top. So Richie Andrews now prepares to kick off for Florida State. He'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds. Brown averages 43 yards a return, Hammonds 25. Of course, Brown's statistics were padded somewhat by that 95-yard return against Texas. A high end-over-end kick that will take Hammonds about 3 yards deep. And he'll stick it down in the ground right there. That's it. Florida State's drive went 8 plays, 59 yards, and the Seminoles ate up 4 minutes and 13 seconds of the clock. Tony Sacca, he started 26 games now, so he's experienced, and he's matured a great deal this year. He's become a leader and now a take-charge guy. Does have 9 interceptions on the year, 10 touchdowns, and only 49% completion rate. But he's been getting better and better as the season has worn on. First down, Penn State, the ball at the 20. Sacca, play action. Throws, has a man wide open, and he can't hold on. Pass was a little bit low, but looked catchable for Daniels. Here are the offensive starters for Penn State, brought to you by Blockbuster Video. Thompson and Gash in the backfield. You will see a lot of Gary Brown and Thompson in the backfield at the same time. Golden starts at tight end, and Daniels and Smith are the wideouts. Smith perhaps the most dangerous after he catches it. Up front, Duffy, Brzezinski, Ludicky, Seaver, and McCartney. McCartney is the co-captain. Ludicky perhaps the most consistent offensive lineman. Second down, 10 balls on the ground, and Saka gets it back for Penn State.
Oh boy, you talk about being in the right place at the right time. That ball was just knocked out with a helmet. They lose 4 yards in the play, but if Saka's not there, boy, oh boy. Watch this. Watch the hit right where the ball is. Right in there. See, he wipes it off his own man. There's the ball loose. You see Saka heads up play there to pick it up and not lose any more yardage or lose the ball, in fact, at all.
Not sure Brown never really had the handle. And it'll bring up third down and 13 for the Nittany Lions. Saka rolls left, throws across his body, incomplete. It was intended for Al Golden, the tight end, and not even close. A very inauspicious start for the Nittany Lions.
Well, that's not what Penn State wanted to do. They don't need to have Tony Saka not get that confidence to start. They needed him to complete 1 or 2 passes, get that drive 30, 40 yards.
Doug Hilkowski will get his first shot of the night. He averages 39 yards, and Terrell Buckley is deep for Florida State. Buckley now, keep an eye on him. He's dangerous. He's returned 2 of these for touchdowns this year. Pressure. Hilkowski's punt is short, but gets a Penn State bounce, and here comes Buckley. Buckley tries to give ground to get behind the wall, and he's got it. Look out. Inside the 30. And taken down from behind at the 15-yard line by Derek Bonham.
Tim, I was about to say that Buckley made a terrible decision. He kept on giving ground, giving ground. I'll bet he gave 25 yards on that play. He had it up near midfield. He gave all the way back inside his own 30. Watch the rush here again. It's off the side of his foot. Right there was almost blocked. Now watch Buckley on the return. Look how far back he goes before he picks up that wall.
You're talking about 4-4 speed. Gave ground and did get the wall. And here comes Bonham from behind to make the touchdown-saving tackle. There are those in this country who believe as Derek Bonham is still down injured on the tackle. But there are those that believe, arguably, these 2 teams, Florida State and Penn State, are playing the best football right now in the country.
And I'm one of them that believes that, too. I don't think you'd find 2 finer teams. You look at Penn State, look what they've done in the last 9 games, won 9 games in a row. And you look at Florida State, they didn't just beat an easy Florida team. They destroyed a great Florida team.
You know what, Dave? Now, these 2 teams finished the season as strongly as anyone in the nation. No question about that. Although they don't have a realistic shot at the national title, I agree with you. They could be the 2 best teams in the country right now. And that's not hype. That's a statement based on performance, stats, and records. Penn State's won 9 in a row, including knocking off then #1 Notre Dame.
And what a contrast between Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno on the college playoff system. One says he doesn't want it, the other says, I want it.
But Joe Paterno has always wanted it. Bobby Bowden doesn't. Right now, it's Florida State out of the blocks quickly, and after that Buckley 37-yard return, Weldon tries to capitalize immediately. And just throws it away. Wise decision, because he had a lot of pressure coming from Keith Kouganis.
You know, when you're an aggressive quarterback, and Weldon is that type of a quarterback, you play right on the edge of disaster. That's what their coaches say. They say, gosh, you know, if you can just curtail and kind of funnel that emotion and that gambling, you're going to be a great quarterback, and that's why he took over this program. Great ability, he gambles, and he comes through with it.
Second down and 10 from the 15. Again is play action. to 2. Lee is close, no signal. They'll mark it near the goal line. Goganis and D'Onofrio on the tackle. It'll be second and goal. From inside the 1. Lee, left side. Touchdown Seminoles. Lee with his 19th touchdown of the year.
Well, when you talk about Lee, you have to talk about strength and speed. He's got a combination. He's not that real big, strong player, and he's not that real fast, strong player, but that combination of both, he gets in the end zone.
Richie Andrews for the extra point, and it's good. And how about the Seminoles?
The line surge is really what's winning it for Florida State. They're controlling the line. You'll see Goganis come up here. He almost gets him in the backfield right there. But again, that leg strength by Lee just drags him. Look, he just drags him into the end zone. Drags 2 people.
Florida State 10, Penn State nothing. We'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. It's Florida State 10, Penn State nothing, with 8:20 remaining in the first period on Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you. And that last Florida State touchdown, 4 plays, 15 yards, took only 1:13. So Andrews will kick off the Brown and Hammonds. This will be Brown at the 3. The 15 and out to the 20-yard line, and he's stopped by a whole host of Florida State Seminoles, led by John White. We're happy to welcome to our Raycom coverage of tonight's Blockbuster Bowl the Armed Forces Radio and Television Services. This telecast is being seen by nearly 2 million military personnel and their dependents around the world. In fact, we understand that most of our troops in Operation Desert Shield will be watching this game either live or on videotape. Once again, welcome to all of you on Armed Forces Radio and Television. Best wishes for a happy holiday season from all of us at Raycom Sports. First down, Penn State. And Thompson bangs his way across the left side for a tough couple. Finally stopped by James Chaney, the nose guard. Take a look at that starting lineup defensively. Ostazuski, Chaney, and Sanders up front for Florida State. The linebackers, Moss. He's the sack master. Jones is the sensational freshman. Carruthers, an outstanding linebacker, and Dinkins on the other side. Corby and Buckley, the corners. John White and Fowler are the safeties. White gets his first start of the year. He did start 3 games last year. Second down and 7. And here's the reverse to Smith. And he's got a blocker. First down, Penn State across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Stopped by Marvin Jones.
Boy, right now, if you're Penn State, you're just looking for something to get started, Tim. They have got to get some offense. They've got to take the pressure off their defense. Their defense has been on the field all but 3 plays.
Well, they say Smith is the most dangerous receiver after he catches the ball. That's a gain of 13 on the reverse. So it'll be first down. Nittany Lions at the 36. Thompson on the right side for a tough 2. Bill Reagan's in on the tackle. Saka has thrown only 2 passes. He has yet to complete one.
I know that they did not want that at Penn State. They wanted him to get that confidence, that early start. Penn State needs to gather their composure right now. They need to take a deep breath, get something going on offense, just get back into the flow of the football game. And there's the man that they need to have get that flow, Tony Saka.
Second down and 8. And a flag down. Still 25 seconds on the clock. They've reset it. I don't think the clock was moving.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offensive interior line. Repeat the down.
Referee tonight is Dick Burleson. Daniel Anderson is the umpire. The linesman, Dr. Norbert Ackerman. Line judge, Ed Dudley. Ben Oldham is the side judge. William Stanton is the field judge. And way back in the back judge is Ned Wilford. After they move him back, it'll be 2nd down and 13. Thompson with a blocker to the 40-yard line. Bangs his way maybe for an extra yard to the 41. That's where Kirk Carruthers takes him down. Kirk Carruthers, the linebacker for Florida State, is an interesting character. Asked to go to military school when he was 14 years old and became its youngest platoon sergeant in charge of 18 and 19-year-olds. They say he likes to be the center of attention, especially when he's playing linebacker. 3rd and 5. Backside pressure, Saka fires, and Daniels drops it.
Boy, with Saka under pressure from the backside, he never saw the backside blitz, and he barely got that off. Hasn't completed a pass yet. Daniels dropped that one. And again, it just keeps on mounting up for Penn State. It's composure time for them. Take a breath. Get back into this flow.
So Helkowski comes back on to punt. And Terrell Buckley will be standing at the 21.
You think they'll put the pressure on him again after the result they got last time?
They better stay in their lanes and watch for the wall. Told you Buckley's returned 2 for touchdowns, and he almost returned another one. And Buckley wants a timeout. And there's only 10 guys on the field, I believe, for Florida State. Another one comes on, and now they have 11. 5:24 remaining first period. 10-0 Florida State.
Help me to tell that helicopter son of his, Rick Anderson, that he sends his low.
Helkowski's punt is going to be called back again. Another flag down, and this time I believe it'll be against Penn State. Penn State's going in the wrong direction.
Boy, they are. They are just totally out of sync. And it happens with an offensive team. You just need someone to jump in there and just take control. They've made a lot of mistakes.
False start on the offensive interior line.
Now, one of the things that's causing that is that Florida State's doing a lot of jumping around on the punt rush. Penn State points to their people. They have to continually point back and forth. And I'll tell you, they're running into a lot of problems.
3 penalties, 21 yards. So they'll line up and try it again. High kick, short. It'll hit at the 35, and it'll be down at the 31. At the conclusion of tonight's telecast, Dave and I will be selecting the Blockbuster Video Player of the Game, so please stay with us for that. Helkowski goes off, shaking his head. A 32-yard punt. And the Seminoles, Casey Weldon comes back on with a 10-0 lead and 5:13 still to go in the first period.
Boy, and we talk about Florida State, and they're scoring first in their first blood. Look what they have outdone their opponents. 102-40 in the first quarter. That was coming into this game.
Ant Lee, nice move out to the 35-yard line. Stop made by Reggie Gibbons. You know, Gibbons played as a true freshman. Coaches say he's a warrior. They'd like to see him a little more aggressive and just get out and forget about what he's doing and just be more instinctive.
Well, you have to play loose when you play on defense, and that's what you need. You need to relax. You don't need to worry about a whole lot of things. You just need to attack and hit something that's coming at you.
They ought to be worrying right now.
Oh, boy.
2nd down and 6. The reverse to Dawsey. And D'Onofrio takes him down rather rudely at the 34.
You know, we talked about Mark D'Onofrio, the Mr. Intensity of this Penn State team, and I can tell you right now, he's ticked. He's mad. He wants to make something happen. There he is reading the play, coming across on the play, and he hits Dawsey. He's one of those guys that you need in there. He reads the defense on his arm, hauls it in, and then again, he is Mr. Intensity out there.
Have to wonder what Robbie Baker was doing, number 51 for Florida State. Scanning around, didn't even see D'Onofrio, although he has been banged up. Baker hasn't practiced all week. He's got a sore ankle. 3rd down and 6. Weldon drops it underneath. This is Dawsey to the 45, to the midfield stripe. And again, it's D'Onofrio in the tackle. Gain of 15.
I know that's what scared Joe Paterno and his staff is Lawrence Dawsey catching that little crossing pattern, 5-6 yards and breaking it for 12 to 15 more.
Dawsey's tough. Says he hates to be tackled. Fights for every catch, every yard. Not super fast, not flashy. But he maximizes his skills. Weldon audibilizes on 1st down at midfield. Looks right, feels pressure, and will throw this one away.
Boy, they want a flag bad on that, and I think they may get it.
Yeah, but it's going to go against Penn State for a late hit by Keith Goganis.
Oh, come on now. Wait a minute. I'm a defensive player. When you throw the ball out of bounds like that.
Oh, wait a minute now. They will say that they may move Florida State back here. Goganis says, wait a minute. He pointed in the wrong direction.
Well, I can tell you, when a quarterback's going down and he wings that ball out of bounds, there it is. Intentional grounding. Now, there was a hit. You're right, Jim. There was a hit late. But watch Weldon. He's going down. He looks all the way back over here. A lot of time. Now he's under pressure. That's not really a late hit.
No, sir. That's a good hit.
That's a good hit. You see all those little tomahawks on their helmets? You think they're not a great team? You have to make a great play to get one of those tomahawks. And you look at the ones that have got them. Weldon, Dawsey. Those guys have got a lot of those tomahawks.
Kevin Knox comes into the ball game. 2nd down and 24. Look at this play to Lee across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Goganis knocks him out. One thing you get with Bobby Bowden is a variety of plays.
And you got to really be careful about that. We've seen him do what, the fumble-rooski. We've seen him do all kind of reverses and passes. He loves doing things like that. And if you're a defense, you can't over-prepare for those type of things. You've got to be real careful that you prepare what he's going to do to beat you. Fumble-rooski is something that you can't tell your team, hey, keep waiting for the fumble-rooski. It's going to happen because they'll be driving down the field on you.
I think what happened after the Auburn game was he took that punt-rooski out of his arsenal. Auburn had him figured out. Here's Lee on 3rd and 18. Gets a block on the corner to the 40, and he'll be close to a 1st down. They'll say he stepped out on the 43-yard line. Darren Perry will get credit for the tackle.
Boy, and it looked like a wave of players out in front of Lee that time. No Penn State player penetrated on that play, and Lee just kept on running behind him. When they talk about Lee, they talk about quick feet. They talk about determination. He is something else. Has great vision out there.
Now has 40 yards on the night. There is a flag down.
And it's going to go against Florida State, so it negates that long run.
I'll tell you something about Lee. Right after we get the call.
We have holding on the offense.
Dave, Lee has put on 20 pounds of muscle and added 65 pounds to his bench press since last year. I'll tell you what, when you can add that kind of weight and not lose any quickness or speed, you can get people's attention.
And he's just a sophomore.
Just turned 19 in October. He's only started 11 college games.
I love what one of his coaches said. He's a lane changer. In other words, he just scoots by and he accelerates in the fast lane. Think he doesn't have many tomahawks on that helmet? He's made some great plays this year for Florida State.
Well, after the holding call, they move it back. So it'll be 3rd down and a taxi ride for the Seminoles.
Really important here that Weldon doesn't try to force the ball into coverage, because he's got a lot of yards to make up. What he needs to do is come up with, needs the big play, obviously, but he needs to save the big play.
Dawsey and Baker to the top of the screen. Dawsey in motion. They need 22. They go to the screen. This is Lee. And a nice play by Leonard Humphreys. And Florida State will have to punt.
That's a good safe play. That's a nice play to call in that situation. It's a screen play. If Lee gets by Humphreys, he may pick up the first down. Humphreys made a nice play to come up and tackle Lee short, force the punt.
You know, Bobby Bowden wasn't sure who was going to punt tonight. He watched him in warm-ups. This is John Wimberly. He averages 40 yards. Gets off a high tail wagger. That'll hit at the goal line and go through for the touchback. Wow.
That was a long one.
2:17 remaining first period. Penn State still looking for its first points. Accommodations provided by Hilton. We've invested over $1 billion to raise the standard of what a great hotel should be. And that's just the beginning. Hilton, it's all in the name. Penn State's still trying to get in sync. Florida State came out of the blocks quickly. 41-yard field goal got them on the board, and then a Lee touchdown made it 10-0. First down, Penn State. 2:17 remaining first period. Play action. Saka has time, throws across the middle and has it complete. Daniels is out to the 40-yard line. It'll be the second first down for Penn State. Leon Fowler and John White in on the tackle, but a nice play by Saka and Daniels. A gain of 19.
And let me tell you what Penn State has done. They are getting good protection up front here. They are taking that deep breath on the sideline. Their coaches have said, okay, calm down. And David Daniels has said to himself, I'm not going to drop another one.
This is Brown on first down to the left side and slashes out to the 44-yard line. White and Freeman will get credit with the tackle there. Gary Brown has a style in which he makes tacklers miss him, almost a slashing type of sideways runner. And catch, he can block, but he's not as disciplined as some of the Penn State coaches would like at all times. Loses his concentration. Second down and call it 6. Play action for Saka. Throws to his tight end. Daniels picks it off, and Daniels is wide open to the 10-5. Touchdown, Penn State. For the extra point, and it's good.
Go Canes! Go Canes! Go Canes!
Tim, we may be able to see this mix-up on Penn State's up. Look, see, they run right together. There's the ball thrown. Daniels comes off with the ball, and he's on a jog to the end zone. Rarely do you see two receivers bump into each other. Nice vision there by Saka to pull up short, but see how the ball went right between Al Golden's hands, 89, into Daniels' hands.
I think it hit Golden. It doesn't matter how he got there. Daniels got there. His 5th touchdown of the year. And the Nittany Lions are on the board. That'll get Bobby Bowden talking to himself.
It certainly will. The Seminoles got off to a quick start. They really had Penn State really on the ropes, but Penn State took that deep breath on the sideline, gained their composure, and that's a sign of a great team. Both teams are exceptionally well-coached teams. They both have got great composure, and they don't lose it in big ball games.
I can tell you this. Once Daniels got a step on toes, the Florida State corner. It was no contest. Daniels has 4.4 speed. He was gone. So Fayak will be kicking off for Penn State, and Eric Terrell is deep with Shannon Baker. You know, Terrell and Baker have not really given much respect to Fayak's kicking ability today. As a matter of fact, they've been lining up on the 5 and taking the kick shallow. Again, it's a high kick. It's short, and Baker will take it at the 11. With the stop, good coverage by Penn State. So a return of 19 yards, and it's just about at the 30-yard line. Hey, during halftime, Dave and I will be announcing the Norwegian Cruise Line Trivia Contest. It's a chance to test your sports trivia skills and an opportunity to win an exciting cruise for 2 on Norwegian Cruise Line. The athletes fleet, so be sure to stay with us. That's fleet with an L.
I heard you. You were right. The athlete's fleet.
I know, big guy, but you were looking at me. First down and 10. Weldon with time drops it underneath, has the completion. This is Bennett. And Bennett's out to the 47. Guganis makes the stop there.
Boy, it wasn't a very pretty pass, but he got there. It looked like he just kind of dumped it over. It didn't look like the spiral. Watch Bennett come out of the backfield, 22. And Weldon just dumps it over his head. See right there? Boom. And look how wide open he is. They're trying to cover those running backs with the linebackers, and that's a mismatch. There's the reaction to Weldon. Says, keep running, pick up some yardage for me.
Gain of 17 yards. Bennett, although he's the fullback, is second leading receiver on the team. That's his 36th catch. And Lee gains a yard. Nice play on the corner by the freshman Derek Bana. Now, he's a true freshman. Probably a better cover guy than Greg Puschetti. He's the third leading tackler on the team. So Derek Bonner's come into this program with the Nittany Lions and made an impact.
And that's an interesting thing also with the Joe Paterno team, because he doesn't believe in freshman eligibility. He doesn't like freshmen playing varsity football.
Although he does say now you've got to play some of the younger players because they may not be around the way the NFL situation has become, and the juniors are going out. See Dick Burleson, the referee, telling him to wind that clock. Now they'll start it up again. Set the ball ready for play. And the final seconds will tick off in the first period. Weldon on the sprint out, throws across his body, and it's complete for a Florida State. Well, it'll be close to the first down marker. Dawsey was hit by Graham and Guganis, and depending on the mark, he'll be close to a first down for the Seminoles.
That's what Dawsey does so well. He goes up in a crowd. There was a crowd there. He just goes up. He's fearless as a wide receiver in traffic.
That's the end of the first quarter, and the score, Florida State 10, Penn State nothing. Correction, 10-7. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. And here, Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you at the first ever Blockbuster Bowl. Florida State 10, Penn State 7, as we begin the second 15 minutes. Casey Weldon has looked so comfortable at quarterback. He's 5 for 9, 68 yards. Third down, they need one. Bang straight ahead, and they've got it. First down, Florida State.
Oh, I don't think that's not a confidence builder for the offense. It looks like just a little third down in one play. But when you win that line of scrimmage and you get that first down, that's the confidence builder when you walk back in that huddle and call the next play.
All year, Edgar Bennett's been the third and short guy. Gets the first down here. It'll be first down, Florida State, the ball at the 41. Weldon Dawsey. Dawsey inside the 30, to the 20. And Lawrence Dawsey down to the 12-yard line.
I know Dawsey made the great run, but that man right there, Casey Weldon, made a great read on a blitz by Penn State. He read the blitz. Watch the linebackers come. Here they come. He reads it, just dumps it over the middle to Dawsey. Once Dawsey catches it, he heads for open ground, and only a great tackle stops him from a touchdown.
Ball is marked just inside the 13. It'll be first down for the Seminoles. Play action. Weldon has the corner. Ball is tipped, but completed to Reggie Johnson, his tight end.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. That ball was tipped up in the air. Just a heads-up play. Picks instead of a loss of about 5 yards or an incomplete, picks up 6, 7 yards.
You know, Weldon is not fast, but he did have the corner. Probably would have been safer just to tuck it away and run with it. His assets are obvious. Mobility and a strong arm. Second down and 4. Amp Lee inside the 5. Touchdown, Florida State. Another one. And it's 17-7. Seminoles.
Jim, we talked about Amp Lee. Watch this play when he sees the break in the line. He's scooting along. Now watch right here. Plant, turn it up, and there's the seam that he just explodes through. Good vision. We talked about that earlier. He has the vision to run along the line, see that seam develop, and just explode through it.
13:28 remaining in the half. Florida State by 10. They knocked the water bottle out of his hand. Amp Lee with 2 touchdowns already. And it's 17-7 Florida State.
I wondered if he thought his kicking tee was too high. Did you see that? They brought the tee out.
Complaining about something, and Richie Andrews is a little bit confused, I think. You know, there's actually 2 tees out there. Manager picks up the extra one. He'll bring that one back, I believe.
Well, you know, that tee can only be about 2, I think it's exactly 2 inches off the turf. And I think that's what the question was, whether he was kicking with a high tee. You see him there with the tee in his hand.
Well, Andrews throws the high one out. They give him the other one. He'll take any advantage he can get.
See, now he may kick into the wind, too. The wind is, we haven't talked about it a lot, but the wind swirls in this stadium and has been a little bit of a factor.
Fairly brisk right now. So Andrews sets it cockeyed style, and he'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds for Penn State. Long kick. It'll take Hammonds about midway back into the end zone, and he downs it on the A of State.
I don't think the tee made any difference on his kick. He drilled that one 5 yards deep.
Well, we told you 17-7 Florida State. Here's the Molasses storyline thus far in tonight's game.
Of course, Daniels with that 56-yard touchdown reception is Penn State's score. Florida State 16 yards after the catch. Now that's an interesting thing. Penn State has allowed Florida State to get 16-yard average after they catch the ball. For Florida State, they scored on their first 2 possessions, and one of them was that great run set up by that great run by Buckley on that punt return.
Amp Lee with 2 touchdowns. First down on the 20 for the Nittany Lions. Brown tap dances his way across the 20 to the 22-yard line. And there he's gang tackled by Henry Ostazuski, James Chaney, and Marvin Jones. Shows 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen on 2nd and 8. Saka has problems, throws it to Smith. He's got blockers to the 36-yard line, and a first down, Penn State.
That's a heads-up play by Tony Saka to read that blitz. Right there, you see a player right in his face, and he just dumps it over there. Good yardage, picked up about 13 yards on the play, but good read by Tony Saka to see that blitz.
Terry Smith, just a 5'8" senior. He averages 18 yards per catch. Most dangerous guy with the football after he catches it. Brother Harvey played at West Virginia, is now a grad assistant. First down, Nittany Lions. This is Brown. Gets 2, and that's it. Buckley and Dinkins take him down rather rudely.
Tim, one of the things that we talk about was team speed, and I think this Florida State team is an exceptionally fast team, has exceptionally fast team speed getting to the football. That time you just see as the play develops, you see about 7 or 8 of the jerseys of Florida State just quickly pursuing to the football. They have excellent reaction to the ball.
Daniels to the top, Smith to the bottom. 2nd down and 8, the ball at the 37. Saka with time, looks deep, and throws to Thompson, intercepted. Howard Dinkins with the INT for Florida State.
Dinkins is a linebacker. He's got him coming off the line of scrimmage. He's a linebacker. He's back 20 yards, but when you throw the ball that high, look at that. 2 players right in position. If one of them doesn't make it, the other one was right there.
Intended for Thompson, but picked off. We'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. First down and 10, Seminoles at the 31. Straight ahead, Bennett. Across the 40 to the 43-yard line. A gain of 12. Stopped by McKenzie. And an injured Florida State player is Howard Haynes. And Hayward Haynes looks to be in some pain. Haywood is 6'3", 278-pound senior. He's played through a broken thumb, an ankle sprain, back problem. Was over 300 pounds. He's gotten down closer to 270, and they're working on his leg.
Tell you one thing, the Florida State Seminoles, when they go in the locker room at halftime, I know they have 11 minutes and 30 seconds left. They're going to be excited about controlling the line of scrimmage, which is what they've done so far.
New year for 1991, especially our servicemen and service ladies over in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia.
Well, we thank you there, Bobby. And there's Hayward Haynes. He's the one that was injured, came off, as you said, Tim, with a sore leg, and they are working on it.
We told you Hayward Haynes had an ankle sprain earlier this year. He's been playing with that thing, trying to get it healthy, and it appears to be an ankle problem now. First down and 10, Florida State at the 43. Bennett straight ahead. Bangs his way across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Goganis in on the tackle again, along with Mark D'Onofrio.
Boy, I have been impressed with Florida State's offensive line. I think that's one of the big reasons that they're just controlling it in this game. They're controlling Penn State at their strength. their front seven.
Well, their offensive line averages 280 pounds without Robbie Baker, but he's only 240. So Penn State will test him. 2nd down and 6. And I can guarantee you Amp Lee saw D'Onofrio coming.
Oh, boy. I think Amp Lee had his hand out there just about ready to catch it and caught a flash of D'Onofrio coming right up his chest.
These guys in the middle, D'Onofrio and Greganis, have to be the landlords of the middle. They have to feel like they own it.
I love what Al Golden said about him. He said he's just plugged into a different music machine than all the rest of us.
Casey Weldon hit 4 straight. Finally has that incompletion. It's 3rd down and 6. Quick drop throws, picked off. Darren Perry across midfield. And finally steps out at the 46. For Darren Perry, that's his 8th interception of the year. And he returns it 20 yards.
Boy, that's against the Florida State team that does not turn the ball over very often. They've only had 1 turnover in their last 4 games. Watch Perry across the middle, just read the quarterback, makes a nice break. Now he picks up a couple blockers, comes out to the outside. He is about 1 block from breaking this. You can see right there, he's just kind of sided into the sideline. He is 1 block from taking that all the way.
1st down, Penn State at the 46. Gary Brown to the 40-yard line and punishes Tommy Henry as he takes him out of bounds.
Well, if you're a Penn State fan out there, you can say if we can score on this drive, we can get back in this football game because everything has gone Florida State's way. Penn State's fortunate to only be down 10 points at this time.
Well, Casey Weldon completed 112 of 182 passes and only 4 interceptions. That's his 5th. Sacco on 2nd and 3, cuts back against the grain. Nice move by Sacco down to the 20-yard line.
People say he has all the talent in the world if he can just channel it in the right direction. He can scramble. He's got an arm that can throw 50, 60 yards when he has to. This is a broken play. He can't pass it because his linemen are downfield, so he has to just improvise. Watch the move right here where he steps over the D-back trying to cut him. Picks up almost 20 yards on the run, drags another one with him.
First down, Lions at the 20. Gary Brown, right side, slashes his way to the 15-yard line.
Boy, there's a great statistic. Inside the 20-yard line, have they been productive?
Been a tough year for Gary Brown. He's had toes broken, turf toe dislocated. 2nd down and 5 at the 15. Sacco, 3-step drop, fires it, incomplete. It was intended for Terry Smith, and he short-hopped it.
Well, now that's the one that Sacco would love to have back. He knows when he threw that ball, he had him wide open out in the flat. Smith had no one near him. He just underthrew him.
Troy Drayton comes into the ball game for Penn State, replacing David Daniels. And on 3rd and 5, Florida State goes to its nickel package. Pressure. Sacco tucks it away inside the 10 to the 9-yard line, and he'll be close to a first down and may have gotten it.
And let me tell you, that's a design play. That's a quarterback draw. There was never a pass intended on that play. Sacco drops back about to 7 yards, you'll see he never puts the ball up like he's going to pass. Just drop back, let your lineman turn him out, and then just find the seam for the first down. When you're 6'5", 225 pounds, you got some size you can run up in there.
It'll be first and goal at the 9-yard line for Tony Sack and the Nittany Lions. They trail by 10. 3-step drop, throws to the corner, intended for Smith, and broken up nicely by John White.
Broken up by number 44, John White.
John White gets his first start of the year tonight. Although we did tell you he started 3 games last year and makes a nice play that time. So White will come out of the ball game. He'll be replaced by Bill Reagans. For Penn State, Thompson replaces Brown. It'll be second and goal at the 9. This is Thompson to the 5-yard line. Troy Sanders makes the tackle there.
Huge down there for Joe Paterno to call a play that's going to pick them up a first down. They've got to get into the end zone. Third down, about 5 yards to go. Look for some type of a roll action where he's got some type of an option. Use Saka's size and speed, or just dump the pass.
Chuck Amato, Dave, the defensive line coach, says his line is not big, fast, or strong, but they've got to stop Penn State inside the 10. They'll be tested here. Third and goal at the 5. Incomplete. The pressure came from Carruthers and Dinkins.
Well, that play didn't have much of a chance. Florida State, a defense that's very, very well. It was into the strong side, and they had great coverage there.
So Fayak will be attempting a 22-yarder. And it's blocked. How do you do? Tommy Henry came through for the block.
Boy, coaches will tell you, you never allow penetration up the middle. You allow them to come around the outside. Henry just busted right up the middle. It looked like he just got a straight seam. Somebody obviously didn't close down inside. Watch where the ball hits him, right in the chest. Boom, and it comes right back to Fayak, right there.
And then Carruthers finished him off.
Watch Henry come right up the seam. Look at this. Boom, right in the chest.
You talked about special teams. 7:41 remaining in the half. And Amp Lee off the left side, a gain of 3. So it'll bring up second down and about 7.
Boy, special teams are so important. When you get an opportunity like that, you have got to score. We saw what Penn State had done in the past inside the 20-yard line. That is a huge turnaround. I can tell you for this Florida State defense, when they come to the sideline, don't think they're not pumped up. Boy.
Play action for Weldon. They need 6. Backside pressure. And Eric Ravani gets his 6th sack of the year.
This is what you call a secondary sack. Nobody to throw to. See, right there, all the time, but nobody to throw to. Ravani comes all the way around the outside. Heads up play by him to continue that rush.
Got by Paul Moore, who looked like a swinging gate. It'll bring up third down and 11. The ball at the 13. Draw. This is Moore. And Moore will be close to a first down. Leonard Humphreys with the tackle.
You know, a lot of times running backs don't get credit for great blocks. I want to tell you something. Lee put a block on a linebacker. Watch Lee on this play. See if we can see him. He's 42. There he is in the bottom right of your corner. He just drops the linebacker out. Right there. Turns him out. You can see the result there. The first down yardage. That was just a superb block by Lee.
Paul Moore playing in front of the home folks. He's from Miami, Florida, just a junior. Ball to 26, first down for Weldon. Again, there's pressure, throws underneath. This is Lee. Across midfield into Penn State territory. 26 more yards. Matt Baggett made the saving stop.
Well, you want to talk about a saving stop, a shoestring tackle. Watch Baggett on this play. He's number 13. If he doesn't get Lee, Lee is gone. Right here, Lee is gone. Look at Baggett. Shoestring tackle.
I saw Florida State against Miami mid-season. Then they lost that game and lost to Auburn. This is an entirely different ball club. Bennett slips a tackle, spins and drives his way out close to the 46.
Well, you remember what Bobby Bowden said? We came of age in that Miami game. I know he said we grew up a lot in that game. I'm sure Penn State, they felt they grew up after the Notre Dame game, and they did. They grew up. They're a much better team. I'm telling you, this is not the same Florida State team that lost 2 in the middle of the season.
Brad Johnson was the starting quarterback in the first half of the season. Talented individual, also a basketball player, but he just didn't look totally comfortable. Casey Weldon's comfortable. Penn State will take a timeout with 4:52 remaining in the half. And Florida State still leading by 10. Save the greatest plays forever with Blockbuster Bowl highlights. Exclusive game footage and interviews with both coaches. Only $19.95 from Blockbuster Video. Call now. Second down and 8. Weldon in trouble, throws to Bennett. And they'll mark it at the 44-yard line. So it's not enough for the first down. Darren Perry and Reggie Gibbons get credit with the tackle.
Look at that stat, yards per play. You take away that 56-yard play by Penn State, you've got a much different yards per play for them, but Florida State's been extremely effective. 6.7 yards for them per play.
Clock continues to roll. 4:13 remaining in the half. Third down and 6 for the Seminoles. Weldon rolls way left and has problems. Incomplete. It was intended for Matt Fryer, who made a valiant attempt to keep his feet in, but D'Onofrio was there and the pass was wide. And Florida State will have to punt.
I'm telling you, Weldon just amazes me. Watch the tail end of this. Just last second, he throws it out and almost completes it. He's been under some extreme pressure when he goes to the outside, but just a cool customer.
A new punter in for Florida State, Scotty McLaren. He's a one-stepper. He's a pooch punter. Tries to pooch this one inside the 10. Smith breaks it out of there. Harry Smith's got room. Across midfield, and it's McLaren who makes the tackle.
Boy, I want to tell you one thing. You talk about living dangerously. To field that punt, when those people are just coming right down your throat, he just breaks the seam on it, Tim.
I hesitated. I thought his knee hit the ground.
It's awfully close. Boy, when he broke through that seam, there was no one there. Watch this again. That's the punter coming down when it was a 42-yard kick, 36-yard return.
3:43 remaining in the half. Penn State with a big play. They trail by 10. Dave Rowe with you from Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida.
Tim, on that punt, I felt sure his knee touched. Let's take a look at it and see, in fact, if it does. Boy, if it doesn't, it's awfully close. Maybe it didn't. Boy, the pictures don't lie, but look at the coverage. The official's in great position to make the call. He broke the seam. He's at midfield with that return.
They tell you never to field a punt inside the 10, but he returns it to the 50. First down, Penn State. Saka throws underneath to Thompson, and he's nailed. Oh, what a hit by Marvin Jones.
That's that freshman that we talked about. Bobby Bowden said if you made a highlight film of the great hits that we had this season, he said he'd probably be in 7 or 8 out of 10.
Hey, Jones is another one of those guys playing in front of the home folks. He's from Miami. His brother Fred played linebacker at Florida State in 1986. Marvin Jones, All-American as a freshman. Second down and 5 to the Nittany Lions. Saka pumps, looks, has time, now completes it. This is Daniels. Gets a block. Inside the 30. To the 20. And knocked out by Davis and Jones.
Boy, you got to give credit to that big line of Penn State. They gave Saka all the time he needed. They just held him out there. Saka just kind of pumped 2 or 3 times. He kind of hand pumped. Watch the time he has back here. He only sets about 5 yards. Look right there. Pump, 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 pump. And finally finds it. Finds his wide receiver who gets outside and picks up the yardage. But great protection by Penn State's offensive line.
Penn State's offensive line is not big. They won't power you, they'll finesse you, but they gave him great protection that time. First down, the ball at the 18. Gary Brown, right side. Flags thrown, first down inside the 5. Gary Brown.
Boy, when that flag is thrown, it is almost always holding. And if it is, you're going to see a Joe Paterno walk out there about 2 yards, and you're not going to want to be standing next to him because his teeth are going to be grinded.
Well, holding on the offense.
I can just tell you, I know that man, boy, right now. He's just grinding inside. You see that little shake of the head? It may have been Al Golden, 89, who held on that play. Maybe we can see it on the tail end of this. He's right there on the outside. See right there? That's what I think they called. The flag came flying in right in there. There's the flag. See the flag come in there where Golden was? Boy, negates the, and that's the difference. That penalty's just a short penalty, 10 yards, but it takes the ball from inside the 10 all the way out almost to the 30.
They mark it at the 28. They need 20 for the first. Saka has backside pressure. Picked off. Leon Fowler, the free safety, stepped in front and gets his 4th interception of the year.
Boy, they're going to call this missed opportunities in the first half for Penn State. This time Saka under a lot of pressure from the outside. I think it was Weiss on a safety blitz on the outside. See the pressure he's under? Great read by the safety that time, Fowler, to come up and intercept that ball.
Second turnover of the night for Penn State. And that'll drive Joe Paterno nuts. .239 remaining in the first half. Florida State still leads 17-7. Amp Lee tries to cut back. Does, and Ben Fatty will take him down. Tell you something about Ben Fatty. If he makes a mistake, it's full speed.
I can tell you he is a full-speed player.
Amp Lee now with 48 yards, 2 touchdowns, having a big night. In high school, Amp Lee ran over 4,000 yards and scored 68 touchdowns in 3 years. Here he is again. He's special. First down, Florida State. They'll move the chains. And the clock stops at 1:57. Joe Robbie Stadium is located in Dade County. The Blockbuster Bowl headquarters are in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. And some of this week's activities were held in Palm Beach County. All of these are part of the beautiful South Florida. And it's been a wonderful week down here. One of the warmer spots in the country during a very cold 10 days in America. First down, Lee's hit immediately and loses a yard. Nice play by Darren Perry, the hero backer.
Interesting, Penn State not using those timeouts in this situation. A minute and a half, but really the ball at the 40-yard line, if you're able to hold them deeper, then you get the ball back in good field position. But Penn State electing just to let the clock run out and only be happy to go down into the locker room 10 points down.
Dawson Fryer, top of the screen. They look for Fryer on a timing pattern, and he never looks back. Incomplete. Perry and Humphreys both were on him. Looked like Weldon was expecting Fryer to stop, and he just kept it going on the fly. So to bring up 3rd down and 11.
That's great play selection for Florida State. Good balance. And that's one of the things that Joe Paterno told us. He said this is a very, very balanced Florida State team.
Weldon has pressure play action. Now dumps it to Lee. And Lee is hit for a loss of 2.
Now do you call timeout because now you have him in that punting position.
Boy, a nice play by Reggie Gibbons, the outside linebacker. And Penn State does take that timeout. This telecast is a copyrighted presentation of Raycom Inc. and is intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the video or audio portions of this program without the express prior written consent of Raycom Inc. is forbidden. John Wimberly comes back on to punt. And Tyson Thomas and Terry Smith will be deep for the Nittany Lions. That 54-yarder was a boomer, too. It was high and hung for about 5 seconds.
Well, that last pooch kick didn't work out real well for him. I'm sure they're going back to regular punting.
Well, that was Scotty McLaren that came in for that. And the difference is McLaren's just a one-step guy. Rarely gets anything blocked, and he is their pooch punter. I think they just want Wimberly here to kick it as far as he can. Under a minute to go, first half. High spiraling punt. And Tyson Thomas takes it at the 12, breaks a tackle, and the ball's loose. Florida State says it has it. No signal from the officials yet.
I thought Thomas stepped out of bounds when he caught the ball. He was very, very close. That ball came loose.
And Penn State will retain possession.
Watch Thomas. Watch how close he comes to the sideline when he catches this football. Right there, he plants about 6 inches. Now watch the ball come out. Well, they must have said his knee was down, Tim. They may have said that his knee was down here, and that's what negated this fumble. Right in there, they may have said his knee was down, because I thought Florida State recovered that football.
41 seconds remain in the half. This is Gary Brown, and all Penn State wants to do now is hold on and melt the clock. I think you're right, Dave. They just want to get into the locker room down by 10.
Well, it's shades of Notre Dame for Penn State. When they played Notre Dame, Penn State was behind at half. Notre Dame had played an excellent half. They went and regrouped and came out and played extremely well in that second half. For Florida State, it's a typical first half. Lots of scoring, lots of domination.
10 seconds remain in the half. Brown slices his way to the 24, and that'll do it. So that's the end of the first half. And our score, Florida State 17, Penn State 7.
Yes, it's always great to be in Florida. One of my 39 home states, always great. So it's hooray for Hollywood, and it's strangely appropriate for me to be here during halftime, since I am at the halftime of my first term as your president. And I think it's awful when a politician says things he knows will get applause. Things like Florida State and Penn State are two of the greatest football teams in history. And speaking of winning teams, how about a hand for our winning team of guys and gals in the armed forces of the United States serving in the Persian Gulf tonight? Which brings me back to this wonderful halftime salute. Hooray for Hollywood. So many memories of blockbuster stars of the movies. You know, Ronald Reagan was a blockbuster star from the movies. He told jokes. But as your chief executive president, I do impersonations of blockbuster stars. People like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hello, it's great to be here in Joe Robbie Stadium. If you don't like football, I blow you up.
Huh? People like Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry. Imagine him talking to Saddam Hussein. How you doing, punk? In all the confusion, I don't know if I sent over 5 Phantom jets or 6. So what you have to do is ask yourself, do I feel lucky? So, it's hooray for Hollywood as we wind down this halftime and we wind down this fabulous year and welcome in the new 1991. So in 1991, come out of your shells. It's going to be a great year. And here's some guys who don't need to come out of their shells. And I'm glad I'm not running against them in 92. I support them and believe them strongly. Here they are, some of the biggest blockbuster stars of the planet, the Teenage Mutant.
State 106 yards rushing. The turnovers by Penn State, 2 costly turnovers. That blocked field goal and, of course, that interception. Those were 2 missed opportunities. Look at the time of possession, Tim. 18 minutes Florida State had that ball in the first half. They have controlled the football game, and that's why they are leading 17-7.
Amp Lee, big first half. Had a 27-yard reception. He had 56 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Weldon, the quarterback at Florida State, 11 of 19, 136 yards, and looked very comfortable doing it. That man right there, I think, got after his club a little bit at the half.
Oh, boy, you'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that locker room and heard what he had to say. I can tell you he was upset.
I'm not sure I'd like to be in there.
And on the other sideline, Bobby Bowden, he has to be excited about his team. I think he had great doubts whether his team could control and stop Penn State. He knew he has an offensive scoring machine, but I think he felt at this time it'd be a lot closer than just 10 points.
Just about set to begin the third period at Joe Robbie Stadium. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you. It's 17-7 Florida State. Richie Andrews preparing to kick off. And he'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammond. Interesting how Andrews puts that ball a little bit cockeyed on his team, but it works.
Yeah, and that's
almost.
Well, you know, all soccer styles do that. All soccer linebacker-style kickers. They put it so that they get the fat of the ball to meet the instep of their foot. He just puts it cockeyed so that he really gets his foot right into the fat of the ball, just below that 1001.
I'll tell you this, if the ball falls again, they're going to make somebody hold it. The wind is kicked up a little bit. Temperature is still very delightful. Just about 70 degrees, but you can see that the wind is rather brisk right now. And it's whipping down inside the stadium. Now, there is a problem with the lights as well. That's what's holding things up here.
Yeah, there's the bank of lights that is not lit.
So it'll make the shadows a little bit longer, and now what I know what they meant when they said it would be lights out between these two clubs.
Well, for Penn State, their first half possession chart is going to just look like just mistakes. Punt, punt, interception, interception, halftime ends. They really only had that one touchdown drive. That was a 56-yard play. It really wasn't a drive.
And even that play was a little bit of a fluke. It was thrown to Golden through his hands, and Daniels picked it off and took it in for the score.
Absolutely. You just don't want to miss opportunities. And Joe Paterno knows against a great football team, you have got to score when you get down in what they call the red zone. That's inside the 20-yard line. Here's Florida State's first half possession chart. Look how they were capitalistic. They scored on that field goal. Next touchdown, they punted one time, got another touchdown. Then Penn State's defense seemed to kind of mature and started to hold them a little bit on their last three drives.
The word now on Hayward Haynes, who went out in the first half with an injury for Florida State, is that his ankle is sprained. He will not return. So we will not see him in the second half.
Well, there's our buddies up in the Goodyear blimp high atop the stadium.
Captain Drew Marshall up there. We had a nice visit with him yesterday, sat in the van. That's the brand new blimp. It's called the Spirit of Akron. Travels up to speeds of 64 miles per hour, and it's a good thing we got out before it went up, because you were going to try to drive that thing.
I was ready to take it over. When they opened those doors, I said, okay, let's go with it. Just had a wonderful
Enough hold up. Let's get it underway. Strap it on, men. Here we go. Big Hammond's 2 yards deep. Across the 15 to the 20, and he's met there and taken down at the 21-yard line by Ken Alexander.
And I want to tell you, this is a huge start for Tony Sacca and the Penn State Nittany Lions. They need to get something going. Almost 60 of his 120 yards came on that one play. He's only completed 5 of 13.
More importantly, Penn State had 2 turnovers in that first half, 2 interceptions. So Sacca takes controls, trailing by 10. Has time, fires complete. Gain of about 5 to Daniels.
That's another one where I thought his knee was down when he caught the ball. The official looked like he came into market, then gave him his forward progress.
The linebackers, Carruthers and Jones, got out there in a hurry.
See that Daniels has got most of the reception yard from Tony Sacca tonight.
It's exactly what Penn State needs to do, though. They come up, they get 4, puts them in a good spot for the second down now. 2nd and 6. This is Thompson. Needs the block. Gets one across the 30 to the 31. And Tommy Henry with a pretty good lick on Thompson.
Let me tell you, there was nothing there for Leroy Thompson when he made his break. That was sheer effort on his part. He's one of those determined seniors that he's going to play well. He just burst through there at the point of attack, right where, watch where the block is made, right there. Now, there's nothing right there. He just bursts through and picks up yardage, and look how determination, he just flies through the air. Close enough to measure, Tim.
Yeah, they are going to bring that to change. The coaches love the way he runs. They call him bounce plays. He bounces it off tackle, it'll hit the hole and bounce to the open area. Played in a beer attack in high school.
Boy, he had a great bowl career over the years here at Penn State.
You saw it. They got it. Good start for the Nittany Lions here in the second half. First down at the 32 for Saka and his Lions. Saka's got problems. Steps up in the pocket and throws a bounce pass in the direction of Thompson. But the pressure came from Dinkins.
Boy, Thompson really complained that time when he went by the official. He felt he was being held by Carruthers on that little crossing pattern. We may, in fact, be able to see it. There's Carruthers, 45. See him hold? I think he's got a little bit of a gripe there.
Called it an uncatchable pass. They should have called it assault. Second down and 10 at the 32. Here's Thompson. There he is, bounces to the outside to the 37-yard line. Gain of 5. One thing about Thompson, he's at full speed as soon as he gets the ball. Very little change of pace. Now has 6 carries, 29 yards. Third down and 4 for Penn State. Saka steps up in the pocket and is hit from behind. Billy Reagans, the strong safety on the blitz, and gets the sack.
Boy, that was an interesting pattern. He only sent 2 players out. He only had 2 wideouts out. He only had one to the strong side, one to the weak side, and there was nobody to pick up. Look at the rush he gets right there. And he only had 2 wideouts out on patterns. You'd think he'd get all the time he wanted to throw that one.
Not unusual to bring Reagans. That's his 6th sack of the year. Buckley takes this one at the 30. Does his prime-time high step out to the 34-yard line. Knocked out of bounds.
I'll tell you, the punter wanted an interference call that time. I thought he got ran into. He complained to the official, too, but to no avail.
5 punts, an average of 37 yards for Hilkowski.
Last play, I thought the punter got hit on that play. Now, if he fakes it, that's a penalty on him. Let's take another look at it. He had to hurry it. Now watch and see if he doesn't have, oh, that's pretty good contact. Now that's only a 5-yard penalty. Wouldn't have given him a first down, but the official didn't call it.
Instead, Florida State has the football. First down and 10 at the 34-yard line. Lee, big hole across the 40 to the 45, the 47-yard line. Strong safety Willie Thomas had to come up and make the tackle. That's a pretty good workload right there.
You better believe it. 14 carries. It's a lot of yards in 14 carries. And he hasn't had that one big one where you break it for 40 or 50 yards. Each one of his carries has been in that 5 to 6 yard range.
Pryor comes to the bottom of the screen. Dawsey to the top one. First down for Weldon. Going for Dawsey deep. Intercepted. Leonard Humphreys.
Leonard Humphreys came into this game with a bad back. Questionable whether he's going to play. But boy, he has played marvelous football out there. That's just great one-on-one coverage.
His second interception of the night. He now has 8 on the year. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. Now Penn State at the 18. This is Brown, big hole, cuts inside to the 25-yard line. These are two very young teams.
Oh, they really are. For Florida State, I think they only have 5 seniors starting on their offensive defense. You know, we may get to see them next year playing for a national championship again.
Well, although Penn State has 17 senior starters, Paterno plays an awful lot of young players. We've seen that. Florida State is young, and you're right. These two clubs should very much be in the hunt for the title next year. 2nd down and 2. Saka looks, throws, Daniels complete. Should be enough for the first. Daniels did a little hook in front of the strong safety, John White.
Boy, when you see those plays like that, you see that little hitch in front of that corner, continues a little out. You know what's next, that out and up. When you throw that burner and you have that cornerback bite on that up, and all of a sudden you burn by him. Florida State's used it a lot. Penn State may go to the book and use it also.
Well, they moved the chains. Saka with a long drop, backside pressure, throws deep, and overthrows Terry Smith. Boy, Saka could feel the heat coming from Anthony Moss and Howard Dinkins.
They list Moss as an outside linebacker, but he almost always rushes in pass situations. He's coming from that against the split end side, so he doesn't have that tight end on his side. And he gets great pressure, 10.5 sacks this year.
Penn State brings in Rick Sales. He's a catching tight end. 2nd down and 10. Drills it to Ty Thomas. And Thomas has another first down. He's out to the 45-yard line.
You know, it's amazing as I watch Saka as he moves his team. He has rises and falls. He seems to gain composure and throws a strike. Watch this play. This is just a rope. Boom, right into the pocket. Just an excellent seam pass. And now he seems to bolster his emotions up a little bit. Then he has something happen bad. He just needs that steady flow rather than the up and down.
Audibilizes here. He's got 3 receivers to his left. Looks that way. Throws underneath to Thompson for a gain of 4.
You know, Tim, when you watch quarterbacks walk, you can tell whether they're having a good day. When they start doing well, they start to bounce a little bit. They've got that little kick in them. They've got a little bit more confidence. Saka seems to be starting to get that on this drive. He seems to have a lot more confidence. See, when he walks into the huddle, he's taking control in there.
Saka's now 9 for 19, 147 yards. It does appear to be heating up. 2nd down and 6 at the 48. Seminoles show blitz. Too much time.
Oh, and that's a costly penalty. That'll drive a coach crazy. Quarterback's supposed to come up. Those clocks are in the end zone. He's supposed to come up to the line. When he makes his call, he has to look at that clock, have it in his vision, and know how much time is left.
University of Miami ran for 334 yards on 52 carries against Florida State, but this defensive scheme has changed dramatically, and what they've done is they're starting to utilize their defensive players more effectively by moving Carruthers out to the outside like he is right now. And again, Florida State shows blitz. 2nd down and 11. 3-step drop, Saka fires. This is Smith. Smith has the first down and then some before Henry can knock him out of bounds, and there's a flag tacked onto that.
There may be a face mask on that. It looked like Smith ducked underneath him and may have caught a face mask. Someone may have grabbed his face mask on the play, Tim.
Carruthers was coming from the backside on the blitz. Saka with a 3-step drop just unloaded it.
Yeah, he read that blitz on the audible. And I think when he throws this, you'll see how quickly it's just about 3-step drop, boom, throw it there.
5-yard penalty against the defense, first down.
Now watch when Smith ducks underneath there, see if you don't get a face mask. Yes, there's the hand. Great picture there of the face mask. Or we do get great pictures from our truck.
First and 10 on the Florida State 37.
Ball marked on the Florida State 37. Again, a quick stop. The pop. And inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Daniels taken down by Buckley.
And don't you get the feel that Tony Saka is getting a lot more confidence. Again, he reads the blitz. He picks it up quick. 3-stop drop. And he finds Daniels right on a seam play, and Daniels almost breaks it all the way.
Saka's now hit 5 of his last 6. It's first down Penn State at the 15. Saka fires. Incomplete. Intended for Daniels, and he had it for a split second, couldn't control it.
Well, I want to tell you one thing. Daniels almost made the highlight of the year catch on that play. Was stretched out across the middle, and he had it for a split second, but when he came down, the ball came out. Watch there, he is 26. Now watch him go up. He has it, doesn't get the feet down, and the ball is broken up. Watch Tony Saka's reaction. We got it, we got it. Oh, no.
On 2nd and 10, ball's loose, and Brown gets it back. So it'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Boy, another huge down. I know we continually say that, but Penn State has got to score on this drive. You just don't take the ball all the way from your own 8-yard line inside the 20 and not come away with some scoring.
Saka to the corner, fires, intended for Smith, incomplete. Smith is upset. He thought he was interfered with by Buckley.
Well, they did get their feet tangled on the play, but the official is in great position to make the call. Watch, see if they don't get their feet tangled up here. Right in there. You'll see it right there. See, he kicks his feet and down he goes. That was more incidental contact than it was actually meant as an interference by the defender.
Craig Fayak on for a 32-yard attempt. He's 0 for 1 tonight. This one is long enough, and it's good. So the Nittany Lions pull within 7.
Paterno echoes the sentiments of all of us here, talking about our soldiers over in the Desert Shield.
Our hearts and support go out to them, no question about that. Well, Penn State has pulled within a touchdown. 7:32 remaining 3rd period. Fayak preparing to kick off to Shannon Baker and Eric Terrell. Little squib kick picked up by Fryer. Fryer's across the 40 to the 43-yard line. At the conclusion of tonight's telecast, Dave and I will be selecting the Blockbuster Video Player of the Game. So please stay with us for that.
I'll tell you, the first thing I question is why a kick like that? That was a terrible kick. I sure wouldn't squib kick out to the 40-yard line. I just think he topped the ball. I don't think that was an intended play. I'm
anxious to see if Blockbuster Video uses you in the highlight package. First time you'd ever been in a highlight package. First down and 10. This is Ant Lee. D'Onofrio with a stop. And Jim Dieter was there to help him. Spins and gets a couple of more out of it to the 47-yard line. Lawrence Dawsey now with 3 catches, 48 yards. need 6. Third down, Florida State. There's pressure. Weldon escapes, throws, has the completion. This is Dawsey. Breaks free at the 35 and stumbles to the 32. Again, it was Willie Thomas, the safety, who made the saving tackle. A gain of 23.
Well, I'm telling you, Lawrence Dawsey catches in traffic better than a lot of receivers I've seen. Now, he's going to get popped on this play. Watch the safety, but boom, come in there. He just concentrates, gets his feet back down, and almost breaks it all the way. You know, there's a young fella out there, number 85, that I want to talk about in 1 minute for Penn State.
Weldon on first, underneath again to Dawsey to the 30-yard line.
Jim, 85 for Penn State's Frank Giannetti. Had a tough week this week. He's had a wonderful week here at South Florida, enjoying the festivities, but his dad had a slight heart attack on Christmas Day. And he said to tell his dad that he loves him and he'll see him real soon. He'll be back and he hopes he's enjoying the game. But tough day for Frank Giannetti to have to go through those emotions.
Playing with a heavy heart, but we understand his dad is doing well. Second down and 8 at the 30. Again, Weldon has time. This is Bennett inside the 10 to the 5-yard line.
Well, this is what Florida State loves to do. Get those backs coming out of the backfield. Get them on one-on-one with the linebackers. And Weldon just throws a perfect ball to him. Boy, he just goes right down the sideline. You just can't throw any better than that. That was just a perfect pass.
They are methodical. You know, it is impressive the way Florida State has come right back. Penn State scored on its opening possession second half. And Florida State now brings it right back to them. First and goal at the 5. Amp Lee, left side. Nice play by Givens to slow him up and wait for the pursuit. Remaining in the third period. It's Florida State 17, Penn State 10. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you from Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida.
There's what a beautiful day it is. Look at that. Look at the evening. Absolutely crystal clear. Had a little bit of rain, but not tonight.
Weldon has room. Touchdown, Florida State. Casey Weldon.
How many times have we said you can't lose containment on a rollout quarterback? You've got to force him to pull up. When he comes rolling out there, there's just nothing. That cornerback is just set there, doesn't know if he comes up to make the tackle, they dump it over top of your head. If he stays back, the quarterback rolls in. You just cannot lose containment.
Andrews with the extra point, and it's good.
Again, here's that pressure. No containment to the outside right there. They lose it right there. Here's the choice, run or pass. He decides to run and just skips in the end zone.
4-10, Florida State, as Richie Andrews prepares to kick off for the Seminoles. Gary Brown and Shelly Hammond awaiting at the 5. This will take Brown way back into the end zone. He'll let it go right on through, and he'll bring it out to the 20. Don't forget, tomorrow night we'll bring you the Freedom Bowl. Colorado State against Billy Musgrave and Oregon. That's at 8 o'clock tomorrow night Eastern Time. Florida State's drive, 7 plays, 58 yards. Took only 3 minutes and 41 seconds to come right back from the Penn State score. Casey Weldon, the story, 13 of 22, 164 yards. But now it's this man's turn. Tony Sackett, quarterback on 1st and 10 for Penn State. Goes deep, has Daniels. No good. Out of bounds.
Oh, boy, was that close. He just so concentrated on the ball. He actually caught the ball, but I think his leg came down out of bounds. But watch the concentration by the wide receiver on this play. Right there, he catches the ball. That's the catch. Boy, that was awfully close.
I think he might have had it.
It looked awfully close. I'll tell you, after Daniels dropped those first two, man, he hasn't dropped anything that's been thrown near him all night.
Tyson Thomas goes to the top of the screen. David Daniels to the bottom. 2nd down and 10 at the 20. This is Thompson. To the 22-yard line. John Nance with the tackle. Gary Brown and Terry Smith come into the ball game for Penn State. Florida State goes to its nickel package. It's 3rd down and 8 at the 22. Backside pressure, dumps it underneath. This is Smith. Smith to the 33-yard line. Tommy Henry makes the tackle, but it should be enough for the 1st down.
Boy, and I'll tell you one thing, Tony Sacco was about a split second from getting leveled by Anthony Moss. Nobody on Moss that time. You talk about him going to that nickel package. They changed 7 players when they go to that. Moss right there. See him 99? There's nobody even on him on that play.
Big old Anthony Moss comes limping out of the ball game after that. This is Brown on 1st down. Breaks one tackle, breaks another, and gets out to the 37-yard line.
Well, you know, when you talk about Penn State, you have to look at their backs. And look at what Blair Thomas did in 1989. It took 4 players to replace the yardage that just Blair Thomas had last year.
The folks at Penn State say Shelly Hammonds could be the next great Penn State running back. Only a sophomore, 5'10", 182 pounds, averages 7 yards a carry. 2nd down and 4. This is Thompson. 1st down, there's a flag. It'll probably be holding against Penn State.
Boy, and that ties that knot bigger in Joe Paterno's stomach if, in fact, it is holding. Because they had picked up a 1st down, and now it'll be, if it is, in fact, holding, it's going to take them way back. With that run, they had picked up a 1st down. Let's get a call on it.
Holding by the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
So they move them back. And the Nittany Lions continue to hurt themselves badly. That's fairly indicative.
So that just so changes the complexion. You've got a 1st down. You're able to drive the ball. You're running with success. Now all of a sudden you've got 2nd down and about 15 yards to go.
2nd and 14, we'll call it. Sacker with play action. Sam Gash gives him a good block. And Sackett gets back close to the 30. Joe Ostrozewski with the tackle there. Remaining 3rd period. It'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Nittany Lions. Seminoles go to their pass defense package. 6 defensive backs. Sack is in trouble. Escapes the tackler, gets out across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Tripped up by Carruthers. It won't be enough for the 1st, and Penn State will have to punt. Snapper number 70 Get a look at him is Bob Check. He was the manager. They needed a deep snapper, so now he's both the manager and the deep snapper. Gets it back this time. Volkowski hits off a high punt, and this is Terrell Butler who fair catches it at the 22. It's one of the great stories in college football.
It really is. They just saw him out there snapping the ball and said, hey, he does a pretty good job.
Still holds the chains at practice.
Now he's going to run over and get some drinks for some of the guys.
He'll go in after the game, undress, and then he'll go get the dirty laundry from the rest of the players and take it to the equipment manager before he showers. He's going to take a break now, though. That's what college football is all about. See, he's tired. He knows his day doesn't end when the ball game ends. First down, Florida State at the 22. Sean Jackson gets his first carry of the night, picks up 2. Leonard Humphreys on the tackle. Boy, Humphreys is extremely quick. Earlier this year, Humphreys was hurt on the sidelines. He was run into just above the knee, but he's back. He's playing well, having a big game here tonight. Final seconds taken away from the third period. And that'll do it. 24-10, Florida State. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network.
Well, first of all, the Penn State must, Tim, they had to control the blitz. They've done that fairly well. Wrap up the receivers. They have been very fortunate because after Florida State has caught the ball, they've picked up good yardage but haven't been able to score. The other one is have outstanding the special teams play, and they have not had that.
Now, Florida State has had pretty much its way.
Oh, they have. They really have. In order for Penn State to get back in this football game, they have to sustain a drive. They have to score. Then they have to kick deep, Florida State deep, hold them, and get the ball back again. If they're able to hold them in this situation, that would really help them because they'll get great field position. But every time Florida State's needed to drive the ball out, they've done it.
The final 15 minutes, second down and 8. This is Amp Lee, and he's in trouble. Amp Lee loses yardage. Rich McKenzie with an outstanding defensive play would not give up his outside leverage and made the tackle.
Well, that's quite a stretch. Down the stretch, 9-1 when they're leading after the third quarter, and they've got a 14-point lead. So that's got to put a little grin on Bobby Bowden's face.
Third down and 10 for Casey Weldon, who throws underneath. Hit immediately by D'Onofrio. Big defensive play. And Penn State starts the final period with authority.
Well, this may be the best field position that Penn State has gotten to start a drive because they should get the ball near their own 40-yard line.
John Wimberly comes on to punt for Florida State. Now Tyson Thomas and Kerry Smith will be standing at their own 35-yard line. Pressure comes. Ball may have been touched. Definitely shanked and goes out of bounds at the 40. And boy, you were a prognosticator there because it is outstanding field position as the ball goes out at the 40-yard line, a 15-yard punt.
Well, when you see 10 guys up in the line of scrimmage and they're coming off that ball, you know they're going to get pressure. They got great pressure on the punter. He shanked the ball off to the right. And you're right. Penn State's got their best field position to start a drive that I can remember in a long while.
What a way to start the final 15 minutes. Penn State shuts down Florida State defensively and now has the ball first down and 10 at the 40. Gary Brown left side, gains 5. Final score from the All-American Bowl. North Carolina State Beat Southern Mississippi 31-27. Big win for the Atlantic Coast Conference. Ironically, these two teams here will be heading to new conferences. Gary Brown nowhere to run. Florida State heading to the ACC. And, of course, Penn State headed over to the Big Ten.
Those are two interesting conferences, excited about getting great football teams. I know the ACC is excited about getting Florida State, and the Big Ten has got what they want. They have a real power coming to them in the likes of Penn State.
Third down and 6 for Saka and the Lions. Florida State comes with a blitz. Saka's in trouble. He's going to go down. Jenkins and Moss met at the quarterback. And it'll bring up 4th down, and it looks as if Penn State has squandered the opportunity.
Oh, boy, you cannot miss opportunities, and you've got to know that Florida State is going to blitz in this situation. A long pass pattern. Saka doesn't have time to pick him up. And a frustrated Joe Paterno on the far sideline to have to punt when you get the ball on the 40-yard line.
Now Helkowski to punt. Florida State doesn't put anybody back. The high wobbler. It'll hit at the 10 and go out of bounds at about the 9. Looked as if Florida State was looking for a fake. That was the position on the field to do it. 11:49 remaining in the ball game. The Goodyear blimp. The Spirit of Akron, the world's largest modern-day blimp. Captain Drew Marshall up there. Well, that's a pretty sight on a gorgeous, balmy night from Joe Robbie Stadium. We've got 11:49 remaining in the ball game. First down, Florida State. And the Seminoles lead 24-10 over the Nittany Lions. The quarterback is Casey Weldon. He's had a hot hand. This is Amp Lee. I can tell you this, the defense is playing well for Penn State. Take a look at the Milana storyline to this point in the ball game.
Of course, Daniels with that 6 receptions, 2 turnovers, the 1 block field goal, the missed opportunities is the story for Penn State. For Florida State, look at Amp Lee, 132 yards total. Casey Weldon, he's had a phenomenal night, 17-25. Even though he's thrown 2 interceptions, he has really been pinpoint accurate at the other times.
Second down, call it 7. Casey Weldon rolls way left and throws complete. Boy, is that a tough pass to throw, and Dawsey made an outstanding catch.
When you make a catch like that on the sideline, you have to have tremendous concentration. To not think about your feet, just to plant your feet and concentrate on the ball. Watch Dawsey, tightrope on the sideline. Just again, he's got his feet down. Look how far out of bounds he catches the ball. And just keeps those feet down and falls to the ground with control.
CY is a unanimous All-American. First down at the 23. This is Bennett. Nice play by D'Onofrio. He got help from Perry. Continues to move. Down to 10:30 now remaining in the ball game. Lee breaks it big, pops it out of there to the 37-yard line.
Tim, let's give credit where credit is due. That offensive line is opening the holes for Amp Lee tonight. He just burst through a seam. They split him out a little bit. Watch the seam. Lee sees the hole, just jumps through right there, gets those feet down quick, and he bursts through for a huge gain. And boy, hasn't Florida State, every time they've needed the long yardage, just jumps through the seam, and he's off to the horse race.
At Florida State, they say it's not the voltage that matters, it's the amps. Gain of 17. Here they just bang it ahead.
Well, maybe we ought to keep an amp meter going today. I know he's got a lot of yards.
You know, his real name is Antoine. When he was little, his brothers and sisters couldn't say it, so now they just call him Amp. He's a player. 19 carries, 88 yards.
You know, another thing, he hasn't fumbled. That's an amazing statistic. When you carry the ball 150 times and you don't fumble, that's amazing.
None of them have.
I know. That's
Hasn't fumbled all year.
I asked the coach, I said, you practice that or what? He said, well, one of our coaches tries to rip the balls out, but we just do not fumble the football away.
Second down and 7. Lee in a whole lot of trouble here. Nowhere to run. Loses yardage. Outstanding play that time by the cornerback, Leonard Humphreys, who came up to make the tackle.
There's the super soft Amp Lee. That's what he's done. Florida State record book. Look at that. He's just a sophomore. He has really had just a tremendous year.
He's a great lane changer, too, when he runs. You know, in high school, I told you he ran for over 4,000 yards, scored 68 touchdowns in 3 years. He averaged 7 yards a carry. How does that translate into college ball? He scored 2 touchdowns the first 3 times he touched the ball for Florida State. Third down and 11 for Weldon. Throws, complete. Not enough for the first down. Dave Roberts stretched his body out to the 42-yard line after the catch. The Seminoles will have to punt. Scotty McLaren will do the punting this time, not Wimberley. Watch the fake. Play clock melt all the way down to 5. Here's the snap and the punt. It's a wobbly punt. Thomas will take it at the 22. He's got a hold. And out to the 38-yard line.
Tom Bill, the senior from Flemington, New Jersey. Now, he hasn't played much in his final season, but he prepared flawlessly and pushed his teammates throughout the year. 15 to 26, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. This is Tom Bill. Throws over the middle. This is Daniels. Daniels to the 44-yard line, stretches out to the 40. There is no comeback player of the year award in college football, but if there was, Tom Bill, I think, would win it. He missed the spring semester, missed all of spring practice to address some well-documented personal problems. He had a problem with alcohol. He addressed it. He spoke about it openly, rehabilitated himself, and he's back.
He's a very inspirational player, and that's why he's in there, to try and inspire this offensive unit and get them scoring.
First down, State at the 40. Thompson breaks to the outside and stretches down to the 36-yard line. 24-10, Florida State. 6:54 remaining in the ball game.
Tim, the first thing you question, you say, well, why does the offense move better when you bring that quarterback change in there? It's everybody just digs a little bit deeper. They don't want to let that quarterback down. He comes in there, it's just a change. Things start to go, and all of a sudden you find yourself being able to drive the football where before you were unable to.
On 2nd and 7, Bill looks deep, goes to Smith. He's got it. Touchdown, Penn State. With the extra point. And it's 24-17.
Now this is just exceptional delivery on the play. Again, great protection. action. He throws the ball up, but watch the concentration. The defender flashes in front of him, turns him all the way around, and he comes down with the football. Terry Smith, great concentration on the play.
Look to see if Tommy Henry, the cornerback, doesn't jump too early. Mistime his jump.
But watch the way Smith turns all the way around to get the football. What great concentration.
And then the effort to get to the end zone. 6:27 remaining in the ball game. 24-17 our score. Here for the inaugural Blockbuster Bowl. What a job by Tom Bill.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you one thing. You always wonder why a team, like I said, responds, but Bill's an excellent quarterback. Didn't have a whole lot of pressure, but like you said, all year long has prepared as the backup, and tonight he gets the chance to show his talent.
6:27 remaining in the ball game. This is Eric Terrell to the 24-yard line. Now, Penn State's defense has been outstanding in the second half. As a matter of fact, Florida State's 4 possessions in this half have resulted in an interception, 2 punts, and, of course, that touchdown.
Boy, huge pressure on Florida State on this drive. They know they have to drive it out. Penn State's got momentum in their favor. They need to get the football at least to midfield before they have to give it up. I saw that fourth quarter statistic. That showed what Penn State does in the fourth quarter.
It's time to batten down the hatches now. First down and 10. The ball in the 24. Weldon with time fires and delivers it on the money between the numbers 2 and 9 to Lawrence Dawsey.
I had dinner with Lawrence Dawsey a couple weeks ago. I was down here to speak on FSU's campus. And I said, how'd you get so fast? He said, well, I'm number 10 out of 11 children from back in Dothan, Alabama. He said, you learn to be fast when you're number 10 out of 11. He is a speedster.
Weldon wants to throw on first. Goes deep. And Shannon Baker has another first down for the Seminoles.
And there goes Florida State again. Deep in their own territory. They've got to drive the ball out. Weldon just throwing just pinpoint passes. Look at this pass. Over the short zone. Drops it right in before the deep zone. Just excellent. Boy, that's some statistics. Look at that. 21 to 29. For almost 250 yards.
Weldon on the screen, incomplete. The good thing it was incomplete. Gaines was right there. It'll bring up second down and 10. 5:16 remaining in the ball game. The war chant coming out of Joe Robbie Stadium. The Seminoles lead by a touchdown. Dangerous pass by Weldon. And Givens is kicking himself, thinking he had a chance.
That's exactly what is right. He is kicking himself. Had he not tripped, he had a chance to get that ball. That was an all-out blitz by Penn State, something you don't see very often from a Penn State team. All-out blitz. They rushed 7 or 8 players on that.
It'll bring up third down and 10. At the 42. Weldon fires toward Dawsey, incomplete. Letting too much out of bounds. And the Seminoles will have to punt. So Penn State's defense did its job.
They have done it very well in this second half. They've been able to stop just an outstanding Florida State offense. Now it's up to Tom Bill and company.
Now Scotty McLaren comes back into the ball game as the punter for Florida State. And Terry Smith will be the lone return man for Penn State. A high spiraling punt that will hit at the 2 and go into the end zone for a touchback. So they'll bring it out to the 20, and that's where Penn State will have it, first down, with 4:56 remaining in the ball game, and the Nittany Lions trailing by 7. Tonight's game, first down, the ball at the 20 for the Nittany Lions. Tom Bill, the quarterback, fires towards Smith, has the completion at the 45-yard line.
You know, Jim, we got a great letter this past week from a fighter pilot over Vietnam. 23 years ago, he tuned in and heard Florida State, Penn State in a tie. He may hear the same thing tonight as he sits in Dallas, Texas. But watch Tom Bill as he electrified this Penn State offense. He drops it in there. They're out to midfield. A lot of pressure on Joe Paterno. If they score, are they going to go for 2? Will they go for 1? Oh, boy.
Daniels comes way down to the bottom of the screen on first down. Gary Brown, left side, gains 4. This is not new for Tom Bill. When Saka struggled at Alabama, Bill got the call and responded by taking the Nittany Lions on 2 second-half marches that resulted in back field goals. He was 4 for 9 for 51 yards against the Tide. They added 20 more yards running. He's had a couple of saves in his career. It'll be second down and 6. And Tom Bill wants a timeout. He saw something he didn't like. Penn State has taken 1 timeout. They have 2 remaining. It's 24-17, Florida State. It'll be second down and 6. The ball on the 49 for Penn State. 4 minutes, 14 seconds remaining in the ball game. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you from Joe Robbie Stadium. Tom Bill is your quarterback. Under pressure, fires. Incomplete, no call. Should have been pass interference. Joe Paterno wanted it and should have gotten it. But they're going to say the ball was not catchable. No flag. That is the first incomplete pass, Dave, for Tom Bill.
And he might have had a call on this. You see the pass thrown right there. He gets interfered with there. Referee ruled it no catch. Not a catchable ball, as you said. Huge third down for Penn State. Huge third down for Bobby Bowden's Florida State team.
Penn State needs 6. It's third down. Flags fly. Bill throws. Incomplete. But again, there is a flag.
Illegal motion against Penn State. They decline it. It'll bring up fourth down. It's fourth down and 5. Do you gamble now? You're Joe Paterno. You've got 4 minutes left.
Illegal motion on the offense is declined, fourth down.
I think what you do is you punt it deep, try to hold them, get better field position. Utilize your timeouts. If you don't make the first down, you're dead in the water. You give the ball to Florida State at midfield.
There's also 4:03 remaining. Tons of time. So Doug Hokowski comes on on to punt. And Florida State has nobody deep. High punt that hits at the 10. Takes the Florida State bounce, so they down it right there. A 41-yard punt. We'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. Paterno, 64 years of age. Bobby Bowden, 61. Outstanding coaches. 3:53 remaining in the ball game. First down. Weldon throws incomplete. Well designed, poorly executed.
And, buddy, I can tell you what they're saying in the Penn State huddle right now. Everybody dig a little bit deeper. Everybody come up with that little bit more effort to hold Florida State here. In the Florida State huddle, what they're saying is no mistakes, no holds, no interceptions. Don't try to gamble with that ball, Casey Weldon. Just be sure when you throw it. Everybody hold on tight and don't fumble.
Bobby Bowden tells a story about how he took a train and hitchhiked to State College 28 years ago as a young assistant, just to talk with Rip Angle and Joe Paterno about the wing T formation. The game has changed, but the coaches haven't. They're still searching for new ways to win. Second down and 10. Too much time to move them back.
The 17-17 tie. I can't imagine that Penn State, if they score, wouldn't go for two. But Florida State doesn't even want to have that even remotely possible. They want to get that ball out of here.
It's second down and 15 at the 6. Amp Lee hit immediately by Keith Godanis. Takes a timeout with 3:36 left in the ball game. So now Penn State will have one timeout remaining. Florida State will have 3.
What Penn State has to do is stop Weldon on that rollout. He's been so effective on that rollout, putting the pressure on the cornerback. They've got to get upfield, turn him inside, force him to pass the ball in the pocket, not put that pressure on the outside.
Hey, while we have time, let me remind our viewers, all winter long, Raycom Sports will bring you exciting college basketball. ACC, Big Ten, Big 8, Pac-10, Southwest Conference, Metro. Check your local listings for more details and tune in to Raycom for the best college basketball in the nation. Third and 13 at the 8. Split backfield. Weldon in his own end zone. Looks deep, throws in the direction of Amp Lee, overthrown. The Penn State defense has held again. It'll be Scotty McLaren who comes on to punt. Now, Florida State is using John Wimberly and Scotty McLaren tonight. McLaren will be standing deep in his own end zone.
Well, both states going to get great field position, Tim.
It's a wobbly kick. Thomas takes it at the 40. Needs a block. Gets one from Smith. Down to the 31-yard line. Tackle made there by Lonnie Johnson. I can't believe some folks have left. This is Florida State's 9th straight bowl appearance with no losses. They're 7-0-1. Their last loss was 1981, the Orange Bowl to Oklahoma. They lost 18-17. They're trying to hold on here. First down, Penn State at the 31. Pressure on Bill, throws incomplete. There's the Florida State player down.
That may be Anthony Moss.
It is. He came limping off the field earlier.
Well, you can't keep great players off when they limp. I'll promise you Anthony Moss is one of those type players. He wants to be in there for this final 3 minutes. He's a football player. 10.5 sacks.
Well, Florida State got things started early tonight. Andrews hit a 41-yard field goal to make it 3-0. Then Amp Lee scored on a 1-yard run. It was 10-0 before Daniels made a 56-yard reception from Saka. Florida State then got Lee another touchdown. Fayak added a field goal. Weldon hit on a 5-yard run to score. And then Smith on a 37-yard pass from Bill, and that's where we are. 24-17, Florida State, with 3:12 remaining in the ballgame.
There's Penn State's last 5 possessions, but none of them count other than this one right here.
It's second down and 10 at the 31. Bill, pressure, fires, has the ball dropped by Smith. Should have had it.
Oh, boy, should have had it and had a huge open field in front of him. If he comes down with that football, I think that was the classic looking before you catch it, because he had a huge opening in front of him. Watch, he's going to come from the right of your screen. Bill reads the blitz. There he is right there. Now look right. Look at the people out in front of him.
That's a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Third down and 10. Bill nowhere to run and won't get it. Leon Fowler, the free safety, was right with him.
Going credit that front of Florida State, not falling for that quarterback blitz. Bill hoping that everybody was going to be deep in coverage on a prevent, and he was going to slide right up through it, but they closed it quick, forced him wide, and it's 4th down. They have a huge play to make here.
So the quarterback draw is unsuccessful, with 3:03 remaining in the ball game. 4th down and 8. Remember now, Penn State has only one timeout left. Florida State with a blitz. Bill in trouble. Throws it up. Intercepted. And they'll down it. John Davis with the interception.
Tom Bill had no place to throw that ball except up. It was the only hope that he had. Now, they may have ruled him down on the 1-yard line and carrying it back in the end zone.
If they did,
oh, boy. Because there's still almost 3 minutes left. I think Penn State has one timeout left.
Take another look, see if his momentum carried him in.
Okay, where does he catch it? Right there. Oh, boy, I don't know about that.
He was still bobbling.
Well,
Penn State gets a huge break. They put it on the 1. Should have been a touchback. No question in my mind, his momentum carried him in. He was even still bobbling it as he crossed the goal line. Nonetheless, the ball is at the 1. Florida State bangs it out across the 5 to the 6. Boy, when they need tough yardage, they always go to Edgar Bennett. They got 5 there.
When you start doing the mathematics of if they get a first down, they've got 2:43. Penn State is now out of timeouts. If they get a first down, they'll be able to just about run the clock out.
leading Penn State 24-17. The ball is on the 6-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Penn State out of timeouts. Florida State has 3 remaining.
There's your all-time bowl victories. You see Joe Paterno and Bobby Bowden right up there. I'll tell you, they are 2 of the great coaches in college football today. Fun to talk to, put this game in a proper perspective. The players love them. It's a fun team to be around. Both of them are fun to be around. 50 years of football between them, and never a moment on probation.
The give straight ahead. Bennett, absolutely nothing. Willie Thomas, the safety, and Keith Gaines, the linebacker, came up and made the hit immediately. So it'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll call it 3. Clock continues to move at 2:20.
I'm not sure if they have to get a play off before the 2-minute warning or not. They're almost in sync.
Dawsey, the lone receiver, bottom of the screen. Bennett out of the backfield has the completion and the 1st down. Oh, what a big play for Edgar Bennett and Casey Weldon.
Boy, does that make it huge to pick up that 1st down. Now they're going to be under 2 minutes.
That'll just about do it. Leonard Humphreys is down and struggling to get up.
Nice fake here by Weldon under pressure. And as you said, Bennett coming out of the backfield picks up the 1st down. Gives them 4 more downs to run that clock right down to nothing. Now what they're talking about there on the sideline, Tim, is they're saying, okay, if we run, we just can't drop straight down. We've got to utilize, we've got to let the time run, so we're going to have to run plays to use extra time.
Humphreys has played well tonight. He's got an interception, been in on a lot of tackles, and he's up. The junior from Akron, Ohio, makes his way to the sideline. Well, the folks from Florida are dancing tonight. It's been a successful inauguration for the Blockbuster Bowl. I think Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno lent this bowl instant credibility.
Absolutely.
1st down, Florida State. Edgar Bennett gets a yard. Clock moves. D'Onofrio on the tackle, under 1:30 now.
And Penn State can't stop it. They'll get this play off. The quarterback will look up at the 25-second clock. And when he snaps that ball at 1 or 2, there'll be a minute left in this football game.
It's already down to 15. You do not want to get a delay of game penalty here. Down to 7. 2. He uses every bit of it.
Snapped it right on 1.
Under a minute to play. And the streak is intact. 9 straight bowl appearances for Florida State without a loss. They'll go to 8-0-1 in the postseason. Last loss was in 1981 against Oklahoma when they lost 5 points.
And Bobby Bowden's going to get his first win against Joe Paterno. And he had coached at West Virginia. He lost 6 times as a head coach, I think 3 or 4 times as an assistant coach. And he's going to get his first victory tonight over Joe Paterno.
The final 15 seconds tick down. That'll be the last play. And the teams will meet at the center of the field. Two old friends, Joe Paterno and Bobby Bowden, two of the most successful coaches in the college game, both over 200 wins apiece. They may not be in a class of their own, but where they are, it doesn't take long to call roll.
I can promise you that. There's not many up there with them. It was just such a wonderful week. They have such great admiration for each other. What a day Casey Weldon had.
Final score, Florida State 24, Penn State 17. Blockbuster video player of the game is Casey Weldon. He was 22 of 36, 248 yards. Did have 2 interceptions, but ran for a touchdown. Well, this was fun. I think it was everything we expected. Oftentimes you get a matchup like this and you expect a good ball game and it never materializes. The Florida State team out really was in control most of the way, but Penn State made it fun, but challenging late when Tom Bill came into the ball game.
Well, they really did. Penn State missed those opportunities, and they had 2 or 3 golden opportunities in the first half to score. And any coach will tell you that you can't come down the field and miss opportunities for a field goal, for 2 touchdowns. They just did not capitalize on it.
A national championship, I think, was unrealistic coming into this ball game, although Coach